Future Jack here, just heads up, we're not covering every game anymore on the Two Left Feet show. We're just doing whatever we see or whatever we prefer, and the main talking points basically. Anyway, say hello, lads. Hello. Alright, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, just before we get into it, please like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, Chika's away. Chika has undergone surgery to fix his terrible football opinions, so that's why he's not here today. But to the left of me, we've got Ramon Reed Harry, aka Mons, captain of Gospel Oak FC, and an all-round legend, and a very happy Liverpool fan this week.
Better knowledge than Chika as well on football, so you'll be happy to know, guys.
Yeah, so it's way better. But Mons is going to be joining us. We're going to swap the people on this podcast / episode on the Two Left Feet show every week, so it'll keep things fresh. So when you get sick of me, which a lot of people do very quickly, you can just watch Chika and Mons argue for about an hour or so. So it'll be a very long episode, but at least you don't get to see me, hey. But last week, as you can see, I was at the Red Star Belgrade match. I've got a little kind of TikTok vlog to come up. To cut a long story short, I'm scared for my life, but we're here, we move, YOLO, and my life is... I'm still here, basically. This week's action, let's just get straight into it. 7-0. Now, I was in the airport in Belgrade, and I opened my phone. I've watched the extended highlights now. I'm a very professional. I take this very seriously. And it was 5-0, and I thought the BBC app was glitching, so I quickly turned on the game. It was 6, and then it was 7. Monzi, as much as this season hasn't been great, you must be the most happy Liverpool fan of all time right now.
I'm happy. It's become a norm these recent years, battering United. 5-0 and 4-0 last year. I saw something the other day. I think it was last 10 visits to Anfield, aggregate score 36-2 to us or something like that. So
36-2?
Yeah, to us. They've scored 2 goals.
I saw another one that said Konate has a... Is it Konate? I think it's Konate.
Probably, because he played the 2 games against them last year. And then this year.
He has an aggregate score against United of 14-0. 14-0. And 36-2.
Should be more than that, because the 5-0 and the 4-0 last year is the 9, and then the 7 this year. So
maybe it's 16.
16-0.
Jesus.
Hold that, United. Hold that.
Look. So if you Monzi, what's your Twitter handle?
@MonziMS.
So if you want to hear opinions like no other, follow Monzi on that, because I still follow it on Twitter here and there. Mons has some very, very good and funny opinions on there. So, bro, as I say, you must be buzzing.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not really competing, because if we was at the top of the table, like battling for the league, wow, I would be unstoppable at the moment. But I've got to humble myself. United fans would know about humbling, of course, at the moment. But I've got to humble myself, Got to stay level-headed, flat-footed, like Lissandro yesterday for that 3rd goal. And just, take the weeks as they come, game by game. Oh, I'm lying. Sorry, 7-0. There needs to be questions. We're 7 points off this amazing United team. We've had an awful season. That Carabao Cup, the Carabobbins Cup, might just be covering a few cracks in their team. But who am I to say anything? Beginning of the year, Ten Hag said every era's got to come to an end. Talking about Liverpool and City. City have put 6 past him this year on an occasion. And we've gone and done 7 yesterday. So I feel like Mr. Seven Hag needs to have a look at himself.
Seven Hag.
And maybe just, relax with the statements. Whilst we are having a poor season, we'll be back. And I think we showed that yesterday. So, yeah, I am happy.
Bro, where do we even start with this? Is Nunez finally hitting his form? Or hitting what he should have hit? Were people being harsh on him? Does it take strikers a season to settle into a new league? Why have people just got these short attention spans nowadays, not sticking with players? Should they be giving players more time? And is he one example of that?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I feel like nowadays players are victims of their price tags almost. So Pepe was a massive one for me. I still don't believe that Pepe is a bad footballer. I actually think he's a quality footballer. But with that price tag comes crazy expectations. So if we was to sign Nunes for 20 million, he'd be having the season of his life right now in terms of that. But because of the price tag, everyone, of course, expects people to bring the moon down to the earth. But I feel like, no, the criticism beginning of the year was justified for Nunes, of course. He was missing some sitters. But with a player like him, I'm not going to compare him directly to Timo Werner, but they're live-wise, and in a sense, they're always causing, like, we love to use the word chaos. So they're occupying two defenders at once, which leaves room for your other attackers to operate in. So if you actually watch the game of football, you'll see that whilst these players might not get the goals and assists, they're still very useful in certain systems. So yeah, for Nunes, I'm happy with him. He's got 18 or 19 goals so far this season.
See, that's not bad.
So of course not. In your debut season for Liverpool, a team
surprised.
that's in transition, and we've been awful this year. It's not bad at all. But of course, there needs to be improvements made from the whole team and him. Of course, he can become more ruthless.
I almost feel bad for the rest of your team. Like, don't get me wrong, Van Dijk hasn't been the best, and Matip's had a bit of a stinker this year, and a few other players have had the stinker. But I think your main problem was your midfield. It was just no legs in the system where you need legs. It's rock and roll football, and it's hard on your attackers like Salah, where you have to win the ball high up the pitch. It's all about winning that ball and attacking as soon as you can. And when you haven't got the legs, other teams are going to get players around the ball. And it seems like your midfield woke up in that game as well. I think Liverpool are proven as well, like, it's never good to count any team out. Like you shouldn't count out players, but you shouldn't count teams. But if you had to describe that 7-0 win in one word and how you felt during that game, I wish I could have a camera on you during that match. What was the one word that comes to your head?
To be completely honest, surprised. Like, whilst I did think we was gonna compete with United and beat them. Like, I understand that. Yeah, they're in a good run of form, but in these big derby games, a massive game, form always goes out the window. But no one can sit here and say that they expected Liverpool to trash United. Even if you was to say 3 or 4-0, you'd be thinking, But 7-0, just crazy. Not like United. I feel like their past performances, they've had a defeat coming, but not to get battered like that. I think I saw not XG is not the be all and end all, but I think we only had like 2.4, 2.5 expected goals. So like,
well, you smashed out of the water.
Yeah, exactly. So it's defending, and of course, it's weird. I didn't feel like De Gea had the worst game. It's just no coverage at all for a United team that have been based on their solidarity this year, especially in defence. I made a little joke about Lissandro, but he's been classy so far this year. Casemiro just in front, so yeah, it was an off day. But if I was a United fan, I'd be obviously looking into it a bit more rather than just pushing it aside, because like it has happened this year. 4-0 at Brentford as well, they lost or something.
Yeah, it's mad.
Brighton back end of last year.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that Ten Hag is at fault. Like, when I caught the game late on when I was watching live, Liverpool had a break 4-3. That should not be happening when you're like 6-0 down.
That was like 6-0, exactly.
Like, you shut up shop, you protect yourself, and now momentum-wise, it's going to kill you. It is literally, like, mentally, that will affect the players now.
Big time.
That all that great momentum you built winning that League Cup has kind of gone. But that's not to say I think Ten Hag's a bad manager. I think he's a very good manager.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just think mentally, for morale and for momentum, that does play a factor. Like, you might have heard him in the background sometimes, and I might egg him on to come in, but we do have a United fan in the room for the first time so far. So, do you want to give a minute or two, or maybe even longer, of your thoughts on United? Go on. Let's get things started. First and foremost, I've got a little gift for you, Mons.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations for your 7-0.
Oh, wow.
What's that? It's a little gift. Flip that over.
Oh, camera, please.
Can we get a zoom in?
Camera, please.
Stevie G. I had to.
My bro, thank you, mate. That is going right next to my computer at work.
And to make sure Jack didn't feel left out, I also brought him a club legend. Here you go, Jack.
Jack Wheelchair.
Show the camera.
Show the cam.
Show Mons. Let him see. It's still like
RVP?
bro, you just
Oh,
RVP.
I knew it.
RVP.
Superb.
RVP. Oh, mate. Where do I start? Shocking. Shambolic. I mean, yeah, it was just awful.
So, I want to, of course, like I kind of said, it's not the end of the world for United by any stretch of the imagination. But like, what do you do? Because recently you've been performing well. Obviously, you won the Carabao Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to lose, of course, you can just sweep that under the carpet and move on to next week. Every team loses, but like, how do you move on from a 7-0, especially to a rival, your biggest rival?
You need to come back strong. I think I'm not making excuses. There's absolutely no excuses for what happened. But we've had a lot of games recently. We're in 4 competitions. We just did the Carabao Cup. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Europa League. I think United fans were getting ahead of themselves, thinking that we could be title contenders. And I think we got exposed. We got completely exposed. Our squad depth is not what people think it is.
You have got a quality squad, in fairness, though.
We have a quality squad.
The depth isn't brilliant, of course. Like the McTominays of the world and whatnot. Respect to you, Scott McTominay, if you ever stumble across this, by the way. I'm thinking in other positions you have decent like backup. But of course, that's the word. It's decent, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It's not like.
It's not international starters.
It's not
first team players that you'd start against. Liverpool. I just think our players were a bit tired, a bit run down, and I think Liverpool came out with quite intention to play. I think we lacked that intensity. Even after the first half, I was thinking to myself, like, before you lot scored, I was like, Liverpool's going to run away with it. Once they get that first goal, they're exposing us. The passing through the lines, cutting through the lines was just...
It was almost too easy.
Too easy. Fred is just not... He just wasn't there. I mean, even Casemiro didn't have a great game, but I mean... Yeah, just no marking. Positional awareness was awful. I mean, 1-2 passes and it's a 4-on-3.
Yeah.
Like, that just shouldn't be... I'm fuming with this.
Let me have, what's the kit?
So, I really appreciate this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. That's good. I hate him. I hate him with all my guys.
Do you actually?
That's what I gave him to.
See,
He just broke my heart.
yeah, of course.
He just broke my heart.
That's how I felt about Torres at the beginning. But then
Yeah.
I was like, do you know what? As I got older, I understood his motives.
I understand Van Persie's, but then he
There's
disrespected
a
Wenger.
way about there's a way to go
Yeah.
about it. Of course, you don't want to disrespect your fan base and your manager and your ex
And he was
teammates.
so good that season before. Anyway, it's brighter days for Arsenal. Poorer days for United. Now, I was watching this in an Irish pub in Belgrade called the Three Carrots. I shout it out. I'm not sure if any of you in Belgrade. Probably not, because there's only about 30 people watching at the moment. But if you ever do go to Belgrade, go to the Three Carrots. Brilliant pub. Arsenal pub as well. I found out there was a player that there was a Serbian player that played for Arsenal. And I was like hugging this big Serbian man every time. That sounds sus as hell. I met this Serbian bloke, and we started talking about the football. And as anything, you bring a football anywhere in the world, you talk football anywhere in the world, and you already have a
Universal
neutral
language.
Yeah, universal language. Yes, him.
Vladimir Petrovic.
So they have a pub in Belgrade called Gunners. We didn't go to it because apparently the general manager wasn't very nice, and they've all moved to the Three Carrots, which I love as a name for a pub.
The Carrots got to have names, no? The Three Carrots.
Yeah, Nigel, Kenneth, and Vladimir, which was also the name of the Airbnb host. Anyway, I digress. I was watching this in Belgrade with my friend Damien. We were watching it, and we walked into the pub a bit late as we were doing a tour of the Red Star game after we went to the game. So get the Champions League jokes in now if you want to. Maxi already did whilst he was there as a Chelsea fan. He's like, you guys will never have this. I thought, thank you, Maxi. He's the Chelsea fan. He sometimes sends his videos in. But we had done the tour of the Red Star. We'd done the infamous tunnel. Actually, Liverpool don't have great memories in Red Star, do they?
And
that was the
Belgrade,
season. Well, you kind of do because it was like the season you were amazing.
Yeah.
So
our game there wasn't the greatest, but the overall Champions League year wasn't too bad. But that tunnel's daunting, man.
yeah. So I went. I'll save this for another video, but yeah, the tunnel had improved.
I hope so.
Yeah, so they got AstroTurf down there, but we walked through it. It was proper tight. But the it's right under the ultras where all the fireworks are. So when the players walk through, like it feels like the tunnel's gonna fall on you, mate. I just wouldn't. But anyway, we're coming back from the stadium tour, and we walked in the pub, and it was 1-0.
Bournemouth, obviously.
Yeah, and I went, oh no, please no. I've just escaped one of the most dangerous football matches in the world, only to come into this. It's like, and it nearly made it worse because I thought like Dominic Solanke probably scored, yeah, he played. Do you know what? I really like Dominic Solanke, but you know when you just hear Dominic Solanke scored in 9 seconds, it's like, it's like if Adam Armstrong for Southampton scores. In fact, did he score against Arsenal? I'm going on so many tangents. Anyway, I walked in. It was 1-0. There was a big Serbian man who walked in and who was at the bar, and he gave me a look, and he already knew we were Arsenal fans, and he went, and I went, and then we were sad. But then I got Guinness, and I thought, life's on the up. It's kind of like my response to Sol giving me a Van Persie card. It's my response to anything. But I went, all right, okay, it'll get better. We go into the second half, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. That corner comes in, and I see it. I'm like, no. But I kept the belief. I was 2 Guinnesses down by this stage, and I thought,
Surprised not 4.
yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. I thought, am I going to move on to the Raki very, very soon or very early? There was a chance because that Zamora guy, the left back, to be fair to him, he was having a good game against Saka. I didn't move on to the Raki. I then saw Thomas Partey score, and again didn't know how to feel about that because I was like, for reasons we can't talk about. So Partey scores 2-1. It's set up by Emil Smith-Rowe, who honestly didn't have the best of games. It was a good header though, in. And then that second goal goes in, and I'm like, 5 minutes earlier to this, I was like, why the hell are you bringing on REISS NELSON? Why are you doing it, Mikel? And I thought, actually, he's having a bloody good game. And I thought, this is his moment. And Solly actually said, when in the game before the eventual conclusion, this is his moment. And controversial opinion, I'll get onto it after. But yeah, that REISS NELSON goal went in. There was like a level in the pub, so like it's like 2 floors. It was like a kind of low second floor. It was like a spiral staircase. I nearly squirrel dived on this big Serbian man. I nearly like body. What do you call it? You watch wrestling when you like jump and you. I nearly frog splashed him, and but to be honest, this geezer was so big he probably would have got me on his shoulders and F5'd me. So, but I ran down the spiral staircase. Gave him a big hug, and yeah, I'll never forget that moment. But I think that's when REISS NELSON's career changes. And I think the debate to be had in this situation as an Arsenal fan is, does REISS NELSON have more natural ability than Smith-Rowe? Now, this is a controversial topic. Now, I think they're both very good players. I just enjoyed them both, as Rio Ferdinand said, even though they're not Messi and Ronaldo. But
disclaimer, they're not mentioning Ronaldo.
Yeah. Some Arsenal fans might believe that, so you never know. But has Nelson just got unlucky with injury and circumstance? Because when Emil Smith-Rowe came into the Arsenal squad, it was in that game where we were on that massive losing streak. Arteta changed the team up. We ended up winning that game 3-0 when Saka kind of scored that loopy shot. But REISS NELSON has always shown it. When he was at Hoffenheim, he was unplayable in the Bundesliga. When he got a bit of form at, was it PSV he was at? Feyenoord, sorry, not PSV. Yeah, he was at Feyenoord. He was very good towards the end. In fact,
because Dirk Kuyt was there, that's why.
But is there a debate to be had that REISS NELSON has a higher ceiling than Smith-Rowe?
Suppose the debate can be had, they're both very technically sound footballers, man. For me, I've always liked Smith Rowe, so I don't know if it's bias. I'd probably say Smith Rowe has a higher ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough though, because once again, REISS Nelson's technically he's amazing. I would go with Smith Rowe, just because I believe that Smith Rowe is a player that can thrive under kind of any system, just on the way he plays football. A ball carrier, comfortable with the ball at feet, comfortable on the turn, can throw his physical about too, which REISS Nelson can as well. It can definitely be debated, but it's just kind of personal preference really, because they both got their strong points. Yeah, I'd probably go with Smith Rowe in terms of a ceiling. I think that he will be a very, very, very good footballer. Whether that's at Arsenal or another club, I think he'll definitely make the cut.
So I suppose the other argument is he's been unlucky with injuries. Even in his earlier career and this season, he has been unlucky with injuries as well. Personally, I think Smith Rowe's a brilliant player and has a high ceiling. He has a high ceiling. He carries the ball better than Nelson, and I arguably think he can beat a player better than Nelson because he's a better dribbler. But when it comes to other aspects of the games, like shooting, I think Nelson's better.
Yeah, Nelson edges it,
I think crossing, he's better. And I think when you have those traits, and again, they're two separate players, I think that helps Nelson more going forward. Now, the only difference and the only reason why I'd argue Smith Rowe has a higher ceiling is because of confidence. Smith Rowe doesn't seem phased when I see him play. Nelson, it sounds a bit weird to say, but seems like a sensitive fella. I think Nelson is very much affected by confidence, and I saw it on the sideline before he came on. Arteta giving him reassurance,
and G'ing him up, and everything.
Yeah. And Nelson was like, okay. You can see it on the sideline before he comes on. You just had a feeling when I saw that. At the same time, I was saying, why are you bringing on Nelson? But there was a part in the back of my brain. I'm not going to come on and say, oh, yeah, I knew he was going to bag, like set up the next goal and bag. But I don't know. I saw his mannerisms. You can, like I said with Mudryk, like you can tell by someone's mannerisms a lot. I think all these stats nowadays, yeah, they really do help the game and stuff like that. But sometimes it's about the way you carry yourself.
Of course.
You know, like you could be the best looking bloke in the club. If you walk in all like that, you know, I mean, it happens to me all the time. But if you walk in and you're like your shoulders are out, you got better fortune. You could see it with Nelson. He looked amped up. He looked like he had that confidence. So I think they've got the same ceiling, to be honest. But I think Nelson's will be I think Nelson has a higher ceiling, but I think his is more a temperamental ceiling. I think his is more affected by confidence than Smith Rowe's is. I think Smith Rowe is more likely to hit a higher ceiling than Nelson, but if Nelson's confidence is higher, then he will hit a higher ceiling. And that's a really weird way to phrase it, but
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
At the moment, no, I suppose it's almost impossible to play for Arsenal without that confidence. Like going into training every day. Of course, you've got City behind you, but you're top of the league. It just feels like there's a feel-good factor at Arsenal. Like got rid of all of your players, toxic players, should I say?
Toxic.
You can tell that everyone just kind of wants to work for Arteta, and they're all dialed into the same project. And of course, in life, if you all have that cohesion, it just makes things easier. You all go in the same direction. Likewise, if things are going poorly, like if you're all feeling negative, you're all just going to drag each other down.
Do Arsenal win the league?
It's very tough. It's very tough because Arsenal and City are both going to drop points from now till the end of the season. Like, you'd be fooled to think that both teams are going to win every game. Of course not. So it's twists and turns. Of course.
3, 2,
I still
1.
think City. I still think City.
Oh,
Yeah, purely because we've all seen it these last 5 or whatever years. Whilst I do think City are going to drop points, we've also seen City go and win 14. We've got 12 games left, 12, 13, 14, 15 games in a row. Like, it's not beyond them at all. And especially at crunch time, they always seem to turn it on March to the last running of the year. So at the moment, whilst you can say Arsenal, you can't disregard City. And whilst you can say City, you obviously, due to Arsenal being first, can't disregard Arsenal. So it's going to be very tough. I'm going to look forward to seeing it unfold. Of course, it's not being in the title race as a Liverpool fan, but it's also nice to kind of just lay back and just watch the title race unfold. Who do I prefer? That's a different question. But I'll keep that in my head and on my Twitter. So once again, for the most biased views on football, my handle's been mentioned earlier on in
Go
the
on,
cast.
drop it again.
Oh, at Monzy, Monzyms.
Sweet as. Follow that up for them football opinions. Do you know what? I've got a different opinion. I'm a pessimistic Arsenal fan. I predicted Tottenham to finish in top 4 above Arsenal last season. So yeah, I'm not afraid to bet against Arsenal. I wouldn't actually bet against Arsenal for the ACCA, but I think Arsenal are going to do it. I think these moments are moments you see, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if City do. But I think Arsenal will do it. There's again, I'm almost like a statman op. I like the romance of football. I'm a football romantic. I can feel it in the air tonight kind of one. But Arsenal are gonna win it. I just got a feeling. It's in my bones. Now, if they do win it, mate, it's just gonna be so amazing. I grew up in my first house when I was 2. I grew up for the first 2 years of my life overlooking at the Emirates being built on Cheverton Road in Archway. I'm born in Archway. But you can probably see in the background there are some Spurs photos. My Spurs supporting parents brought me up allowed me to be born in Archway. I lived in Archway for the first 2 years of my life. I've grown up being an Arsenal fan, seeing the Emirates being built from my back window. I probably can't remember it, although I had other family members that stayed in the flat. But yeah, as a football romantic, going from being 2 years old, witnessing the build of a new generation, being born in Islington, supporting Arsenal with all my friends, my cousins. If we do it, I just think it's going to be amazing, and I think we will. I just got a feeling.
The stuff of dreams, that is.
Stuff of dreams. That is some football romance, right?
Now, on the other hand, you got all them kids that were born right next to St James's Park, Newcastle, and they're still awaiting their Premier League. So, of course, don't use that as a parameter of you winning the league.
No, I'm not saying,
I'm joking.
I'm not saying that's the reason we're going to win the league, but I think it will be amazing. That's my.
It'll be a nice little personal romantic story.
Yeah, that's
sure.
The romance for it, and many kids around the world and in North London and London in general. But I just think these magical moments, and no one's going to sway my opinion on that. I may as well call myself the football romantic. I love it.
Mr. Lover Man.
Yeah, mate. As I say,
Shabba.
Mr. Lover Man. Never in my life. I've got the rhythm of 2 chopsticks. But
That's decent rhythm.
And on that note, let's get into the Newcastle game quickly. We won't stay on it for too long. Newcastle not really having the best game. City not really having the best game. It seemed like City kind of just took their chances better. The biggest thing I got from this game is, like, fair play, City. You took your chances. Newcastle, you didn't. And I think Newcastle will have a slight drop-off now.
For sure.
And to be fair to Chika, he predicted
Liverpool
coming high, and he said he
4.
would. And the biggest thing from this was who wins in a fight, Haaland or Dan Burn? Dan Burns, is it Dan Burn or Dan Burns?
Dan Burn. His name is Erling Braut. That doesn't sound like a man that's going to lose a lot of physical combat.
But Dan Burns a bit fluid.
Dan Burns, he's got the size on him.
Yeah.
In terms of the height.
But he's fluid. Do you see that dance in the changing room?
Oh, he's sticky.
Mate, I thought he's fluid. All right, shows how well I can dance. I told you, room with 2 chopsticks.
That's a tough one.
I think Dan Burns got it for his viciousness.
Yeah, Erling
He's
Braut.
so northern. Haaland moved to Norway from Leeds.
Yeah, Braut.
Dan Burns stayed
he's
in the
Norwegian.
north.
Imagine being born in Leeds and then moving to and then living in Norway. You've picked up so many life skills. Oh gosh, what's the school system like in Norway? Is there any Norwegians? Like, is it tough there?
I met some Norwegians in Serbia, actually.
Do people approach you for your lunch money? Like,
Do you get
Yeah, nutmeg rush, is that a thing?
No.
Beat the letter.
See,
If yes, then Haaland.
But Dan Burn, I think he played for Blythe Spartans. I'll back a Dan Burn for the viciousness.
Yeah, I think Dan Burns is the kind of stick your thumb in the eyes if I'm losing a fight kind of guy.
Yeah, he's petty.
Yeah, he's a naughty one, Dan Burn.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like Haaland's just got that brute force about him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a little brute.
But Dan Burns lived more, you know? I think if Haaland
Haaland's still a little boy.
Stays in the north a bit longer, I reckon he's got him. But I reckon Dan Burns got him.
See that video of Haaland walking down Manchester by himself,
see what
though?
I mean?
Just like a little Terminator.
Yeah.
Who's going to try him, though?
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn will try him. I reckon Dan Burn. Dan Burn for the win.
Do you know what? That's up for debate, that one. That's a tough one.
On that note, good win for City.
We'll quickly touch on Brighton, because Brighton are a team that I think... Brighton are right in the mix.
I was just going to say, talking about downfalls and falling off the pace a bit, Moyes as well.
I would say...
It's time to go!
So it's weird. I would say that he's in trouble, but West Ham are still in the Conference League, the UEFA Conference League. They've got a pretty favourable draw. I can't remember exactly who it's against, but I know it's a game that they should be winning and advancing. And then they win that, they're in, was it the quarterfinals of the Conference League? And it looks very favourable this year. Like, they could knuckle down. And I think Villarreal is still in it.
But what's the use in all this if you get relegated?
Getting into Europe next year.
Yeah, but you're in the Championship with 46 games and in Europe on top of that.
That's true. And a big stadium.
Yeah, that will leave empty seats. Cheapest season ticket in England, I found out.
West Ham,
Yeah.
I personally don't think they'll get relegated. If they do keep up this form, however, Moyes will be in a lot steeper trouble than he is now. But I think they'll kind of hold on to him, see how the next month or so goes, and then when there's like, let's say, a few more Prem games to run down, see if they're still in any European competition, then he'll have to go. But if they competed against United, and albeit in the FA Cup last week, got battered by Brighton, didn't they? Week before, done well against Nottingham Forest, but then got battered before that. They're just a yo-yo team at the moment.
I just think Moyes has to go. I think that cycle has finished. I'm surprised he did well at Everton for so long towards the end of that tenure, but I think that was a different time. I still think he's a good manager. I think he comes into a club and helps them massively, just like he did at West Ham.
Steady as ship almost.
Yeah, but I think they've been found out. I remember watching the Arsenal documentary, and Arteta pretty much says in that they are not athletic at all. He kind of says it in a way of not saying it.
But in a way, like, yeah.
I think teams have sussed them out. I think you have to bring in a whole new squad, and I think when you bring in a whole new squad, you need to bring in a whole new manager. I don't know who that guy is, so I won't talk too much, but I just think you need a bit of change, you need a bit of oomph. But on that note, Brighton, what is in the air? The way Brighton's run, their owner loves the club. He's invested so much money and invested so much money in the scouting, clearly, because Jesus, how does one guy, like, all their best players leave and then they get some... It's almost fake. It's like they've got FM editor.
Yeah, they just find cheap beasts for like cheap. just find cheap beasts for cheap. Put that on
the t-shirt.
Honestly,
the t-shirt.
Cheap beasts.
Don't put that on your teats. Put that on the t-shirt, not your teats.
Yeah, like you said, they're just incredibly ran. Their players, they're just so used to what to do. I'm not going to compare them, of course. But I remember like years back, that Barcelona team under like your Luis Enriquez and Pep, you could say, oh, like just let them go out there and they'll do their own thing. I feel like this Brighton team are so used to their playing style and how they all play. You can tell it's a good environment there to play football, that they can just kind of go out and do their own thing and they'll still bring home the results. Like De Zerbi,
have you heard Chelsea
unreal. For De Zerbi.
Yeah, Chelsea are in.
If he's smart, he wouldn't go anywhere near that football club at the moment.
Yeah. Whilst
I'm not going to sit here and say Chelsea won't ever be back, because of course they will be. Right, that club's in a major transition.
Imagine they fire Potter and then replace him with the guy that Brighton replaced, and then Brighton bring in a new manager, and then they fired De Zerbi, and then they bring in a manager that Brighton just replaced again. That would be mad. But I don't think it's going to happen. If you had to sum up Brighton's scouting policy, light on why they're getting it right, because I feel like someone needs. I'm sure many people have looked into it. I don't know, but how are they hiring or signing a guy who has a PhD in dribbling, who played for a university team, and then him be quiet when he first joins the club, and then just go bang? It's like they're ready to press a button at every time for when one player leaves and they bring in another. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, they've just got like a talent wheel going on, just moving at all times. No, it's excellent. That's how football clubs should be ran, though. Whilst, of course, you got to go and splash the cash on the players that you want. It's not about marquee signings and big name players all the time. You want to find these hidden gems. That's what Liverpool were doing pretty well for like the last few years under Klopp. Like your Bobby Firminos, of course. Salah was known in the league, but he weren't really like a world beater.
No, he was kind of good at Roma.
Exactly. You want to sign these players and kind of and just elevate their status. Really, like football, as much as people don't like to say it or love to say it, it is about systems. Of course, it is. Like this whole he's a system player is so overused. Every manager has a system. That's why they're managers. They want to find a tactic that works best for them and their personnel. So to call someone a system player is almost like a positive thing to say to someone. Like, yeah, thanks, I fit into my system well. I do my job well for my manager. Like, there's no shame in that. Yeah, like Weghorst.
Brighton, Europe of some sort, whether that be
100%,
Conference or
100%.
Europa League. West Ham down.
Is that what you think? Yeah.
No, I'm asking.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Brighton, definitely Europe of some sort. Definitely. Like at the moment, it's in their hands they can potentially jump either level points with Spurs or above Spurs. I believe so. I think they can jump above Spurs if they win.
7 points off Spurs with 3 games in hand.
Yeah, there you go. So if they win all of their games in hand, obviously you'd rather have points on the table. But Brighton go up into 4th. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But Brighton will definitely get some sort of
points on the table. Sorry, terrible.
Boom.
I thought you'd just leave the podcast there.
Yeah,
but Brighton, Europe, West Ham staying up then.
Yeah, where West Ham at the moment? Like 9th?
No,
17th or 16th? 16th. Okay.
1 point.
Yeah, they are in trouble. I do think once again they're a little bit too strong to go down. I look at other teams in the league and I can see at least 5 teams that are weaker than them. Not to say that they can't go down, but I just think they might avoid it.
My out there prediction is West Ham rebuild, and I think they hired the wrong person to rebuild with and go down next season. Don't come for me, Hamish. Don't come for me. I think I just got a gut feeling the rebuild is gonna go bad. And I could see them going down next season, especially when they lose REISS. So don't hate me. But clip this up, because I could just be an absolute genius. It's not the first time ever, so hate me or love me, the underdog is on top. On that note, Southampton. Just to finish it off, Southampton 1, Leicester 0. Now, James Maddison on Twitter was not having it. Let me read out what James Maddison said.
Let me have a look.
So Rob Tanner, a football writer for The Athletic, covering Leicester City. So Leicester City fan, I believe.
Rob.
Mounting injuries, loss of form, defensive lapses, wasted chances, poor game management. The ingredients are all there for relegation. This Leicester side buckle under the slightest pressure, and it could spell doom. James Maddison responds, "Rubbish. Watch and analyse the game properly and stop writing headlines like that, which you know makes fans pile on with negativity. Play like that and we'll be absolutely fine. Create numerous brilliant chances and win comfortably on another day." Now, I kind of get what he's saying, because against United, they did have chances. De Gea, I said it in the video, De Gea turned into a world beater. Apparently, I saw in the comments here, they had a higher XG, they had the same amount of goal attempts, didn't hit the target, and had a high. I mean, possession doesn't really matter. But, I mean, I was having a debate with a friend about XG. I still don't really understand it. But, even with no shots on target, they had a higher XG, and they had chances. Now, can Leicester fall? Because I just don't understand them right now. It's like Pythagoras' theorem, Leicester. Just don't get it. I just don't get them. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just can't work them out. I can't even find the words. I mean, I never do find the words, but I really can't find them now. Leicester, I just don't understand. Now, quickly, let's just make a quick prediction before we talk about the rest of the game. Do Leicester go down and do Southampton go down, regardless of the result, the 1-0 win for Southampton?
Southampton, a very real possibility. I think that they could go down.
But will they?
I think that they will.
Yeah.
They're in big time trouble. These Ward-Prowse free kicks can't keep you in the league alone, unfortunately.
He can't score penalties, though.
Yeah, exactly. Missed the penalty. They just look so toothless. Like their attack, their midfield, no one really wows me. They've got one goal scorer, and that is Ward-Prowse through set pieces. Yeah, I think they're in trouble. Leicester, no. Once again, I feel like they're like a West Ham. No one's too good to go down, essentially. But I think they have too much quality. Though at the right moments, they've got the quality that will show in the end. But yeah, it's all about Brenda Rodgers. Not
Brenda?
Not Brendan. Brenda Rodgers, you are a fraud, my friend.
So Rory Jennings, a YouTuber, says this all the time. He can't stand him. Do you think he's a fraud?
He's a massive fraud. Oof. He is a massive fraud. So, not last year, but the 2 years prior, when Leicester just missed out on Champions League football and finished in the European places, they should have got top 4 both of them years.
Why is that?
Purely because of their placement. Like, was it 2 seasons ago? I think was that the year that Alisson scored his header and he got us into the Champions League? Was it 3 years ago now? Leicester were 4th in the late weeks.
Oh God, they
were 4th in the late weeks of April, but they've done it 2 years in a row. 4th in the late weeks of April, like having Champions League as a real possibility. Both years they finished outside the top 4. I think even outside of the top 5, they finished 6th 1 year and 7th on the other. So, Brenda Rodgers at Liverpool as well. Oh my goodness, let's not even get into that.
Just look at Stevie G, it'll get better. Just don't remember the bad times. Yeah.
At Liverpool, awful. He still to this day somehow gets credit for us finishing second that year and our title run, when we literally had Suarez, Sterling and Sturridge and Gerrard and Coutinho saving our bacon every week. We was cricket scoring everyone. When I say cricket scoring, we weren't winning 7-6-0. We was winning every game 6-4 or 7-5. We were awful defensively, but we just had those 5 players I just mentioned in attack, which won us games. Awful manager. And we're seeing it now. Like, he has no plan B. He never has had a plan B. If Brendan Rodgers' team goes a goal or 2 down, you'll never see them come back. Like, I can bet my life on that. Just awful. Toothless. Can't manage a team any other way than his way, and he's not that good enough of a coach to have one way and stick with it. You need to be flexible. He's a fraud.
Considering the crap he's been left with, he's doing okay. And I still think Southampton will go down. By the way, Chika laughed at me when I predicted Southampton 20th. Still might not happen, but it's highly likely. I think they will go down. But I think Southampton are in trouble. I think Leicester will be fine, but I'm not much of a... I feel like you know a lot more than me, being a Liverpool fan. I don't think Brendan Rodgers is that bad, in my opinion, but I don't know enough on it to comment too much on it. But I do definitely think they need a new manager in.
Yeah,
and I think Southampton, you're in trouble. I think Ruben Salas will get good results here and there to end the season with, but it won't be enough. And on that note, that pretty much wraps it up. Now, we didn't do every game because I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's not worth it. Like, there are just... How many bang average games have you watched and remember? Yeah, hate me later. But we have more in-depth stuff to cover, and really, I don't want to watch Robbie Savage on BT Score with all the 3 o'clock kickoffs. I'd rather watch one game and concentrate on it. Oh, Savage. But anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. As I say, we're going to have different people on now. I say different people. There's only 3 of us, plus Sol, who will make an appearance whenever Man United do bad. He's only allowed to come on now when Man United do bad because of the Van Persie card.
That sounds good.
That sounds a bit bad. If you see Sol in the thumbnail, you know it's been a bad day. But Monzi, cheers for coming on.
My pleasure, mate.
if Chika's back from his operation on bad football opinions, maybe we'll get you two on together. He's
looking at a long time on the sidelines. Then with those opinions of his.
If you want to see chaos, that is chaos. I see. I'm a neutral guy. I'm a calm guy, and even Chika picks a problem with me then. So. Wait till you see Monzino and Chikzinho in the same room, but in the ring,
it's gonna be a face-off almost.
Chess boxing. It's got to be chess boxing. Have you seen chess boxing? Oh mate, you got to learn about chess boxing.
Is it effectively boxing?
It's literally one round of chess, then you box, then it's another round of chess, and whether you win, if you checkmate your opponent or knock them out. Everything has to be settled by chess boxing. This is my new mantra in life.
You better beat me at chess, Chika.
Yeah. It's gonna be so if they argue too much, it's gonna be settled by some chess boxing. Best sport ever invented. Anyway, on that note, if you've enjoyed, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment. Is Chika a very nice? No, I'm joking. That's a bit hard. Will Chika ever come back? This is the question. Will his football knowledge improve?
You're asking for so much from him.
Yeah.
It will Chika's football knowledge. How old Chika's in his 20s, mate.
Yeah.
Mids. If it hasn't improved by now, oh gosh.
If you've enjoyed, please subscribe, like, hit that notification, comment, and catch you in the next one.
Thank you for your time. See ya.
Sweet. That was good.
That was nice, man.